Ren from Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today I want to share with you 10 physical JRPGs that are still affordable for the Nintendo Switch. Let's check it out. Thank you everyone for joining me for another episode of Hallowed Be Thy Game, and today I'm excited to dive into a unique topic. You know, now that we see 3DS physical games going through the roof, PS Vita JRPGs going astronomically through the roof, it kind of got me thinking. The best way to deal with scalpers and everything in this market is to just kind of get there first. I'm by no means stating that every game on this list is going to be impossible to find one day, but with things being the way they are, I think now more than ever, for those of us who love to play games physically, it's getting a little dicey out there. So I wanted to start potentially a new series for physical JRPGs that are still affordable. And it seems like overnight, looking at Xenoblade Chronicles Torna the Golden Country, overnight, once they got added to Smash, that price went through the roof. So these are games that I think that if you're someone who likes to play physically, you're not going to be wasting your money, and I tried to find all JRPGs that are still under $60. Now, I know affordable is in the eye of the beholder, but when you look at some of these prices like Code of Princess EX for the Switch, or even like the Attack on Titan game apparently is through the roof, I just think these are games to kind of pick up now before they could potentially be unobtainable in the future. And also, these games are not in any particular order of greatness. These are just 10 games in random order that I think you should check out and pick up while they're still affordable. So with that, let's get to number 10, Tales of Vesperia. Without question, one of my favorite heroes from any video game ever. Yuri Lol is a god tier level of a protagonist, but also the gameplay is solid in this. It is still the classic Tales formula, but with this you're going to have an extremely awesome story. It definitely breaks the mold from JRPG tropes. I mean, you're definitely going to get a little fan service in there and a little bit of tropes here and there. But this takes a bold new direction, and it has a very bold protagonist with an excellent cast of characters to go along with it. I have mentioned in the past that I'm not the biggest fan of the old Tales formula, but I think that's just a testament to how solid the gameplay is here, the world exploration, but especially the characters and the story. This is an excellent game, and definitely pick it up while it's still affordable on the Nintendo Switch. I do want to warn you, I had a little bit of performance issues with this. I had a hard crash happen once, but that was a while ago, and I'm pretty sure they've patched it out since then. But still, this one's still on the cheap, so check it out. Number 9, Trials of Mana. Now, this was actually my first time ever playing this game. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the original Japanese name. Trials of Mana is just a gorgeous cast of characters. It has a wonderful new art direction, taking it from, that classic, extremely lovable 16-bit graphics to a really nice transformation to a 3D art style. And honestly, the free roaming combat, it worked really well. I thought this was an absolute fun game to play. If you're into action JRPGs, do not miss out on this one, especially while it's still affordable. It's weird when I look at some of the 3DS games and even like games like Gravity Rush for the Vita that were cheap for the longest time, and then overnight they just skyrocketed or doubled in value. I kind of wonder what will happen with Trials of Mana, because this was an excellent port, and I think as time goes on, people are going to start discovering how good a port it was. Being able to cycle through all the different characters, each of them has their own unique story, being able to build your own party members, and the world exploration is fun. I thought the story was very cute and old school fun. Really, Trials of Mana, it's excellent. Don't miss out on it. Number 8, Astria Ascending. This is definitely going to be one that I'm going to leave up to you. You might want to check out more reviews on this because there has been a lot of love it or hate it reactions to this. I personally originally thought this was a Vanillaware game, but I think that's a testament to how gorgeous this game's art style is. It has a somber story. I thought the combat is fun from it. It's definitely a solid game, but there is a solid combat system. I don't think it does anything too new. But again, this is really affordable right now. I don't think it did that well when it launched, and as unfortunate as that is, it does mean this one's still affordable. And I think as time goes on, people will look back on this game with probably a kinder eye than it was reviewed at. Again, I don't think you're going to be wasting your money on this for where it's at. And I'm going to have links to all these games in the description, because either through Amazon or PlayAsia, you're still able to get these games either at the price they were released at or cheaper. Number 7, Sword Art Online Hollow Realization. Now, I love Sword Art Online games, and I do want to preface this is that these games are very samey. This game basks in anime tropes, it basks in JRPG tropes, and I hate to say it, this is a guilty pleasure, but it's a guilty pleasure that is fun to play. I think the combat is solid. It definitely has a AA feel. I thought it was really fun, and honestly, I got my money's worth out of this, and really, these anime game tie-ins, as time goes on, if you're somebody who wants to play physically, these are kind of the dicier ones, to where if you think you might like it, you might not want to sleep on it too long, and this one is still affordable on Amazon. Now, you may not be able to get the country of origin, however, I'm not too much of a stickler on that. I just like to play games physically, because mainly I hate playing digital games when I'm in an airport, because the Nintendo Switch always wants to check if you own it, and if you don't have Wi-Fi or you're up, a couple thousand feet above the ground and you can't check, let it run its check so you can play it. Very much annoying. However, I thought all the Sword Art Online games are good enough. I think they're fun. I have a good time with them. The characters are lovable. If you like the anime, you're going to love this game. This game leans heavily on its characters. And if you're someone who loves that, you're going to have a blast with this. And the combat's solid enough. I mean, I am a stickler for action JRPGs, but Sword Art Online, have you played any of these games on the Nintendo Switch? If so, let people know down in the comments if you think this one is one that maybe a fan of the series should give a try. Number 6, Fate Extella, the Umbral Star. Now, I've mentioned these games before in, I think, my underrated Switch games. If you are into Musou games, there is no reason not to play the Fate Extella games. Now, I haven't watched the anime or anything like that, but I have played both Link and the Umbral Star for the Switch, and I've had a blast with both of them. These are simple, kind of turn your brain off and slaughter hordes of enemies, and you have a lot of fan service along with it. These are still affordable right now, and they're a lot of fun. These are perfect hit and run games for me. Like if I have a few, like maybe an hour between a flight, instead of kind of picking up a longer JRPG, I'll just throw one of these in and do a map or two. And I think they're fun. The gameplay is solid, but you have very much over-the-top characters and very solid, smooth combat, but it is not complicated in the slightest. However, I always find myself coming back to the Fate Extella games, and for the price point that you can get this game physically now, I think you're not going to be wasting your money. Now, I'm going to kind of review two games at once. So my number 5 is Dusk Diver 1, and my number 4 is Dusk Diver 2. You have to forgive me. I am absolutely cuckoo bananas for these games, and I need a Dusk Diver 3. I'm honestly shocked these games are not more popular than they are. I have watched other people's reviews on them, and sometimes I feel like reviews can pick and choose when they want to be extremely critical. The frame rate is not great on both of these games. However, the world and stories are fully realized. They're simple anime fun, and the cast and crew for these games are excellent. And honestly, Dusk Diver 2 improves over the first in every way, and I very much love the first game. Here you're going to have some action JRPG combat where you can upgrade your characters, you can upgrade their weapons, you can customize their loadouts for moves and abilities. Very fun and simple quest lines and stuff, but if you have ever played like a Tokyo Mirage Sessions or a Persona game, this is essentially an action JRPG version of those. It definitely tips its hat heavily to those, but honestly, that UI, even though it has heavy Persona 4 feeling, and the areas you explore definitely have a Tokyo Mirage Sessions feeling, that combat is unique, and it is very fun and addictive. These games, to me, are solid fun, and I honestly would consider them some of the most overlooked games on the Nintendo Switch. And right now, they're affordable. And I could definitely see these games in the future, once the eShops close, people will be like, holy crap, those Dusk Diver games were friggin' awesome. You're going to get some like YouTuber out there, probably me, going crazy, like why didn't people notice this sooner? Anyways, I digress. These games are affordable right now on PlayAsia, and Amazon, and jump into them now. And Idea Factory International, I think I'm saying that right. They're about to do a Western release of the second game if you don't want to go through PlayAsia for that copy, which is out right now. I've played it and reviewed it on the channel. I'll put a link in the description. But these games are excellent. I know the frame rate isn't great, but that's honestly my only major gripe about them. They're fantastic and they're a lot of fun, and I definitely think they're worth the price of admission they're at right now. Check them out. Number 3, God Eater 3. Look, I'm not big into the Monster Hunter genre. I know that's crazy, especially for somebody who is such a fan of JRPGs, but coming off of MMOs and kind of online gaming spaces, they are a little intimidating to me because I can definitely slip into a pretty hardcore addiction to those types of games. However, God Eater 3 is an excellent game to play. I think it stands on its own feet. It has its own identity. The combat is fluid and fun, and you're going to have fun here. And this sucker is still affordable physically on the Switch, and I definitely think it's worth checking out. If you like what you see, if you're a fan of the Monster Hunter games and you're okay with a different aesthetic, or if you've maybe played Freedom Wars for the PS Vita, this game is for you. And this is definitely the Monster Hunter clone I'm going to try to get my friends to play together and see if we can team up with. I think it's a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out at the price it's at right now. Now, for my number 1 and my number 2 slots, I am going to pair 2 games together because I think they're both fantastic and they're both still affordable right now, but these games are notorious for spiking in value. Atelier Ryza 1 and Atelier Ryza 2. Do not miss out on this god tier turn-based game. Now, there is an active time battle system, but there is a lot going on here that just makes it so worth getting while it's cheap physically. Atelier Ryza has a gorgeous cast of characters with big personalities, and it's so different. I've heard it explained before like this. Atelier Ryza is like you're playing the end game shopkeeper that you find randomly at the end of the final game dungeon. It's definitely a different kind of hero, but Atelier Ryza is immediately iconic. She's what got me into the series and franchise, and I fell head over heels with the combat system. I was expecting a quirky, fun-loving tale with, good laughs and chuckles and fan service along the way. Yes, there is definitely that. But on top of that, you have a really addictive active time battle system and an extremely complex upgrade path that you can just increase your power levels. Now, there is plenty of resources online to be able to kind of find the best ways to upgrade your character through alchemy and stuff like that. If you're worried about that, however, it's not that bad. It's extremely approachable. This is a great place to jump into the series because there's no time limits or anything like that. It's just good fun, and the stories are so feel good. I kind of feel like right now we have such an extreme focus on negativity and just kind of dark, foreboding stories. Hey, I'm an edgelord at heart. I'm just as guilty. But Atelier Ryza is like a good palate cleanse for good fun. The same thing that Dust Diver does for me, Atelier Ryza hits right out of the park as well. And the second one is definitely an improvement in a lot of ways. I had a lot of fun with the few new characters they added, and the story was very fun-loving, and it has me extremely hopeful we can have a third entry for the Atelier Ryza series. In fact, we have to have it. It was so good. I've never heard anybody who gives these games a try hate them. I don't believe you're going to be wasting your money going into them. I know they're not extremely cheap. They're definitely cheaper than what they launched at, and I think these are definitely worth adding to your collection physically. I think they're excellent, and I highly suggest you check them out. And for anybody who's a fan of the Atelier series, be sure to make your recommendations down in the comments. But hey, there you have it. Those are 10 JRPGs that are still affordably priced for the Nintendo Switch. Obviously, this is an extremely time-gated video. If you're joining us from the future, I'm sorry if these prices have gone up. However, thank you all so much for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing. It definitely helps out the channel a whole bunch. But what helps out the channel even more is sharing your thoughts down in the comments. Please let people know your entries that you think are still affordably priced, that everyone who's a JRPG fan should pick up while they're still affordably priced. Now, this is going to be the start of a new series that I'll come back to from time to time. So if there wasn't a game on this list that you're upset about, hey, it's either I didn't play it or it's over $60 right now. But definitely let your recommendations be known down in the comments. Thank you all. I hope you guys have a great week, and I will see you all next time.